So thank you again for joining today's SOS Server Save webinar. My name is Derek Wood. I'm the Partner Product Manager here at SOS, and today we're going to be going through a whole lot of information, but basically, why is Server Save so exciting today? What does it mean to you? What is it in general? What does it mean to your customers? And how are you going to make money coming into this program? What do you get in the program? Then we're going to go through a product tour of Server Save so you can see for yourself what it looks like and what it does for you. So if you have any questions, we'll stop periodically throughout the webinar and ask you to answer some questions so we can make sure we're steering the conversation in the right direction. And at any time, if you have a comment or a question, feel free to use the chat function of GoToMeeting, and we'll proceed that way. So just a quick agenda. Again, we'll go through a basic overview. What is Server Save? What does it do for you, your customers? How are you going to make money on it? And what does it look like? So to start out, introduction of SOS Online Backup. So SOS Online Backup was founded, like a lot of tech companies, as a rather humble beginning. Although rather than a garage in Silicon Valley, it was really founded in a dorm room in Melbourne, Australia. SOS Online Backup was born out of a personal experience, a business acquaintance, friend of the family. It lost a lot of information and nearly went out of business because of all the data loss. And it was kind of brought to question, well, why isn't there a better backup strategy? Why isn't there something that is online, that's automated, that is simple to use and still secure, so that you wouldn't have to have a business fail for a non-business reason? It's like your business is doing well, but all of a sudden your hard drive fails or you have an accidental fire and your business goes under. There should be something in place to stop this. And out of that came SOS Online Backup. From 2001 to 2005, it was rather limited in operation to locally in Australia. It wasn't until 2005, 2006 that we launched our U.S. operation, and from there our international operation. So 2005 and 2006 was also the time that we won our first PCMag Editor's Choice Award in our beta client. So we came out the gates hot, and it's been great ever since. Since that awarding, we've really changed the business quite dramatically over time, with the main focus, of course, being the most secure and reliable online backup program you can get. Now, we initially were focused on major partnerships, companies like Webroot, Bitdefender, and some others that were major retailers. We did a lot of custom development, customization, rebranding, very strategic partnerships. And then we had a light operation that was geared towards consumers and a light affiliate program. Well, as time goes on, we decided that we really wanted to bring that strategic relationship we had from these major retailers to the SMB service providers that we had the affiliate program for. So after some mucking around, we in 2009 launched our Tier 1 rebranded wholesale program. So 2009 is when it kicked off, and it was such a wild success. It was within 9 months we had more than tripled our partner membership and relocated our headquarters from Melbourne, Australia to here in Los Angeles, California. So it was actually such a successful move in going after partnerships with you all, serving SMBs for the most part, that it really restructured our whole organization. From there, we've had different variants of the program as time goes on, as the market changes. Today, we're now looking at yet another pseudo-revolution in our partner program with the addition of our Server Save technology. So what we've always been terrific at, what we've done, is secure online backup. Online backup 2005-2006 was relatively new as far as a viable and affordable solution. Viable meaning you had the bandwidth for it, and it was quick enough to actually use in a real environment. But that was very much the innovator stage, those who were, who like to be on the leading edge. We started to see tremendous growth in 2008 through 2011. We had about a 33% growth year over year. Majority of that growth was through the consumer channel. So consumers, small home offices, those users were the early adopters that came in and really got the backup industry where it is today as far as cloud backup. What we're looking at now, and the IDC is the one that's really confirming this, it's been something that we've always anecdotally assumed, but now we have the IDC, this is what they do, is saying that this is the time where we're going to see the SMB market really explode into this. And what's unique about this move is that we're not just talking about, replacing a specific service. We're talking about a whole new market, relatively untapped. Today we look at about 16% of the companies out there have some sort of online backup in use. Usually we're talking about some limited scope. One person in the office, one department maybe just a specific machine. It's usually the case, about 75% of that 16% said that that was still very much an evaluation period, just a live evaluation. So we're looking at a huge growth in the adoption rate of online backup today. But not only that, we're looking at a huge growth in the scope of adoption for online backup. In previous years, online backup was thought of to be as somewhat of a peripheral service, which it is a terrific service in that respect. Getting your laptop fleet backed up. How else do you manage laptop fleets? Well, you install this backup program and it runs every hour. So as soon as they have internet connectivity, the backup's going to run. And that's how you protect your business for your mobile workers. But online backup has become a standard for every part of your business. So now we're looking at, let's say maybe let's just have a value of 2 out of 10. If 2 was the scope of implementation on historical adoption of online backup, we're now looking at the adoption of online backup to be closer to a 7 or an 8, nearly hitting every piece of the business. And that's because we're really riding the beautiful wave that is the managed service providing market, the MSP market. Many of you today are either looking into this program because as a first step into becoming an MSP, or you've already made some steps into becoming an MSP and just further developing your portfolio as you will over time. And then there will be a smaller percentage of you who have been doing this for a while and just really see this as a big thing that you need to address now. But the managed service market, what's beautiful about it and why the scope of adoption is changing is that we're doing less and less as IT service providers negotiating services with our customers. The reason that we're doing less negotiating is because now we're defining what standard packages are. And you and I and all of our competitors, we don't have time to debate with our customers what needs to be done. I always equate it a bit to cooking. You don't go to a restaurant and expect the chef to come out and give you a list of ingredients for his soup and then just ask you, okay, ingredient by ingredient, which ones do you and do you not want in here? As a chef, you'd never make a good soup. And as an IT service provider, you'd never provide a truly managed service if you did that. So standardizing sets of packages, and the most natural set of standard packages is a backup package. Everyone needs backup. Not everyone really understands what their needs and backups are, which is why you have a lot of statistics that show data loss, you need backup, et cetera, et cetera. Everyone kind of understands that they need a backup, but they don't understand what a backup solution looks like, and that's where we come in. And with the launch of ServerSave, it's at a critical timing piece because now we're coming to this price functionality inflection point where we're not just providing an aspect of a backup solution. Well, and when I say backup solution, I'm talking about a combination of different backup strategies. I'm talking about having an online backup, having a local backup, having some file and folder recovery methods, having granular exchange recovery, having a bare metal image recovery option. It's a combination of all these items that give you a true backup solution. And on top of that, you are all the ones who are going to be on the front lines servicing this solution, making sure it's up to date. You got your RMM software installed, making sure everything's going okay, test recoveries, or integrity testing, whatever you want to call it. But that's what we're getting, and it's become a point where services that were only affordable to your larger SMBs or even just to enterprise clients are now becoming available to even small home offices. We've seen big moves with things like the Intel Hybrid Cloud, where now you can have a tech refresh plan built into a monthly cost for hardware. Unheard of. The market is really moving huge into the managed service model, which is a monthly recurring revenue model. And SOS is right there at the front when we're talking about what the needs are in backup. We're providing all these options for you. Now instead of having maybe 2 or 3 different vendors to get all these things done, you just have one. That saves time in staffing, saves time in training your staff, in managing your partner relationships. It really helps move along move along as a managed service provider and making money very well. And on top of this, these stats are going to come from the IDC. Right now, they're expecting that the expenditure on cloud-based services to move from about a 1% figure to a 3% figure over the next couple of years. That's a huge growth in what we're talking about. And that doesn't include the soft costs of managed services. So again, we came from, going from a break-fix solution, then we had some software as a service solutions, which were big, 2007 to 2010, 2011. Now it's all about managed services. So it's like what SOS sells on our website, software as a service. What you're selling, managed service. And there's a big difference, and managed services are hot. We're looking at, a billion-dollar industry tripling over the next few years here as we see the adoption of SMB backup solutions go up. And again, that doesn't even speak to the managed part of it. So what is the next wave in online backup adoption? Well, it's like I said, it's not just things that are communicated and marketed to direct businesses and direct users as big, sexy items. The big, sexy item to the SMB today is a managed service package. Call it what you will, a business continuity and disaster recovery plan, business continuity plan. And for those of you who are more formally educated in some project management, really what we're talking about is risk management, right? But some prettier verbiage around it. A business continuity and disaster recovery plan, that's a risk management plan. So when you say risk management, everyone has this view in their mind that my customers aren't going to want that. That's too in-depth. That's too much. Well, with our services, we're getting into all of that. We're coming in, we're giving you a really nice startup as far as, defining your RTO and RPO. Those are your restore time objectives and point objectives. How do you handle backing up data from the extremities of your network? What about all the work that's being done on mobile devices? Can you back up that information? What about if we want to just get a single file from our server? Who can do that? What if our IT's gone or he's out working from home? Can he still recover information for us? What if we need to mount an image of the machine? Can you do that with your service? And that's what we're doing here. So we're moving to right now we're one of the sole providers of the end-to-end solution. So the extremities all the way to the hub, we got you covered. So let's talk about the product a little bit. What does that mean, we got you covered? Well, this graphic here kind of goes through and talks about the different aspects of our program. What does ServerSave include as far as the services behind it? Well, starting at 12 o'clock, we have backing up your cloud life. Now, we haven't yet released that to our partners, but we're working on getting it out there. The idea behind cloud or backing up cloud-based services is that we all know that a cloud is not actually happening. Just because you say it's in the cloud doesn't mean it's in this impenetrable fortress of good. It doesn't mean that it's going to be there forever, that people aren't going to make mistakes. Data centers are full of humans. Humans make mistakes. Hardware fails. It's no different no matter where you go. It's just data centers, there's potentially or supposed to be more attention to those things and more preventative measures against those items. So they have really, really lined out risk registries. So Cloud Life, right now, we did our first jump into Facebook, backing up Facebook information. I'm sure all of you are just as familiar with the business use behind Facebook and Twitter as I'm sure all of you have business Facebook and Twitter accounts. So we'll be moving into additional cloud services as the year progresses, and we'll release generic versions for you all to be able to take advantage of as well as time goes on. Next is Desktop Life. So, the TechCrunch came out with a review that showed that still, despite our greatest efforts as IT managers, CIOs, whatever the position may be, our effort to centralize information is just, the user is the biggest point of exposure to risk in any system, and that's just the way it is. And we still find that about 60% of a business's data resides solely on workstations, your individual user's laptop and desktop machines. Even if it's not nonsensical, users will find a way to save information not in a central location. It just happens. So having an endpoint protection is very, very important. In fact, it's vital. 60% of your business, you better be able to protect that, and that's what we provide there. Very simple to use, very easy to use, very quick. You can run it every hour, no big deal. It's a beautiful program to have on there. You can give individual accounts to your users, and you can empower your users to be able to recover their own information. Or if they're off-site, the ability to access and share information that's vital. How many of you have salespeople or are your own salespeople for the most part, or know your businesses who have a sales team who work off-site? And they probably could give you some pretty good information, at least anecdotally, about the amount of delay that comes in having to get back to a physical location to send a file to somebody, or get back to a physical location to access and reference a file. How many calls do you have that end with, okay, when I get home or when I get back to the office, we'll take a look at this stuff. Well, with our backup program, we've added some flexibility in here where you can do that on the road from your mobile devices. So we have an iPhone application that we are currently redeveloping for compatibility with the latest iOS and the 4S hardware, and that should be out probably generically in the next 2 months, so probably the end of April. The Droid application we just released as an SOS branded, and we're very excited about that, and same type of roadmap, although we'll probably see a generic Droid app that you can all use in the next 30, 45 days. So these applications are really nice because then you can back up your information from your mobile device. Backing up your file data. Of course, we're talking about, now we're on the right side, more about 6 o'clock. Backing up file data from your file servers. It's a great thing to be looking at. Okay, of course you need to back up your file servers, and we've always been really good at that. What we've added with ServerSave, and that's very exciting, is backing up your system data, your application data, SQL, Exchange, SharePoint, all these different items. It really increases the road that you can take with the SOS services behind you. We used to actually recommend going to other companies who specialized in image-based backup. Go partner with Zenith. Or we had partners who said, hey, we use Zenith for the bare metal backup, and we use you for the online backup. And since then, we've had a ton of our partners move over to us and move away from these other systems? A big reason is because we don't include any hardware. You don't have to purchase a $2,000 piece of hardware that's proprietary, only works with our system, to just talk about how much you're going to pay for backup. We're a software-based firm, and that's how we plan on staying. And we give you the flexibility to define your own, backup server, which essentially is what you're buying from these other companies. So when you're talking about the program, we've developed this program to allow our partners to provide all of these services at a super ninja price point. Something that, almost makes no sense not to provide to your customers. So what do you get in this program? Well, on the left we have a list of the different agents that you get, or the different pieces. So first, Exchange backup and granular recovery. Of course, being able to back up a full Exchange store, recover Exchange store is important, but the most common type of recovery when you're talking about an Exchange environment is because a user made a mistake, deleted a file, message, mail, contact, whatever it is, and you need to recover individual messages. So we've built in the Exchange backup and granular recovery into this program. Bare Metal Image Creator. Makes sense. This is a tool that's going to be creating bare metal images. You select a volume, we'll back up the volume. Image Stream, which is, we're actually changing in the next couple days here to Online Backup and Recovery Manager. So this allows you to really bridge the gap, which was, online backup is tough when it comes to these huge files. Well, we built this program specifically to handle that, and that's what it does. So we have Image Creator, create the images. We have continuous backup for Image Creator so that you can create one full and then incrementals from that point forward, and you don't have to do a weekly scenario. That way, the online backup for the image makes a lot more sense. From there, we have a per order service that we offer. We're unofficially calling it Cloud Boot, but what's going to happen is we're going to set up an environment on our cloud, and we'll boot up the image that you need us to do that for and provide you with access to it. So that's terrific. And then, by the end of the year, or beginning of next, we hope to have Cloud Boot as a default pseudo failover. Pulse Centralized Management. So this actually, up until today, it was a separate agent that you would install alongside each backup at each machine that you're running backups, and it would give you back information as far as reporting on the activity of the backups, if there are errors, pulls log details so you can do some basic troubleshooting, and then also gives you control over changing the backup sets and schedules. Well, we've since built this into the latest 5.2 version of our Online Backup and Recovery agent, and you get all this reporting, and we're really turning things out on that respect. Naturally, as part of a managed service package, you need to be able to provide your customers with reports, and that's a big initiative we have over the next 2 months, is to really make nice executive-looking reports that you can export from our system. Online Backup and Recovery, this is a version that we call 486, and the Online Backup and Recovery agent is much more heavily branded than everything else. The ServerSafe client is branded. You get a new logo, product name, but then each of the agents is generic. This Online Backup and Recovery is perfect for your endpoint solution. It's good for your desktops, your laptops, any workstation. This is what you would install and have your customers interact with. Then comes the Premier Web Integration Package. The Premier Web Integration Package it's not quite unique, it's absolutely unique as far as the offering. The Web Integration Package was born out of an observation of our partners. We were finding